Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our April 18th, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what the new Warner Brothers Discovery CEO is thinking about Superman. We've got more from Nicolas Cage. We've got a Wonder Twins casting announcement. Sadly, we lost Gilbert Gottfried, the voice of Mix's Pitilic. We've got an upcoming Superman and Lois episode to talk about, comic book stuff, solicitations, and so much to get through in this bumper episode of Superman Homepage Live. And to let you know how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my co-host. Happy Superman Day, Michael Bailey.
Happy Superman Day, Steve.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've got a Who song stuck in my head, but we're gonna get into that in a minute because This is Superman Homepage Live, and because Superman Homepage Live streams live on YouTube, we want to hear from the people that are watching us live right now. And if we don't have too much to talk about, which I'm gonna tell you Steve used the bumper line. He's not wrong. There's a lot to talk about. But if we somehow manage to take calls today, here's how that works. First, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, search for Superman Homepage, and send us a message that you'd like to be on the show. Now, a couple of things. Wait for us to call you, because I'm shocked everything's worked out so far this week, and you never know when something's just going to screw things up. Also, if you do watch Superman Homepage Live via an external speaker, please mute that, because we are on a bit of a delay. That can screw things up. And to Michael in the chat, no, this is Jim Lee Superman, and the Superman figure, there's writing all in it, so it's made up of letters too. So it's a
very cool shirt.
It's pretty. I was rather happy to find it.
Yes, so if you want to get involved in tonight's show, you can also, just like Michael F. Ballack in the comments did, participate in the comments with other live viewers. Get involved, ask questions, talk to each other, have a chat. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments and react as the show goes along. And if you'd like your comment or question featured live on the screen, that's called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go to air. And thank you to our patrons and sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you'd like to support this show and like your project or your name or your business featured as a sponsor of the show, simply head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, or as I said, click the join button below, and there's different levels of perks for members to join. Well, Michael, it's, as I said, Superman Day today, April 18th, depending on where you are in the world. It's already 19th here, but April 18th, the show goes live in America. Is the day that Action Comics #1 was released back in 1938. So it has been labelled Superman Day, the day that he arrived on our shelves, in our lives, and 84 years later, we're still talking about Superman.
Yeah, and I posted some stuff on Facebook and Twitter today, and one of them was the Nicola Scott variant covered Action Comics #1000, and I'm actually kind of surprised that the costume hasn't changed since that came out, because it seems like for a while there, like every couple of years, they were just changing the costume, and I'm like, wow, this is actually still relevant. So that was kind of nice.
Yes. That is, I saw that Facebook post, and thank you for that little tribute for my involvement in getting you that.
I am blessed to have friends that are willing to do stuff, and the fact that Jack was willing to stand in line and get it signed and then mail it to you, which, to be fair, I think that him mailing it to you and you bringing it on your flight over and mailing it to me was still cheaper than it would have been just to mail it from Australia, just in and of itself, because of how postage is crazy.
Well, not if you include my air flight ticket.
Well,
but I wasn't specifically coming to only to mail.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not, you just happened to be
coming. But yes, today is Superman Day, and I did see again the question about, well, how come Action Comics #1 has a June 1938 cover date? Why are you celebrating it on April 18th? A cover date is more like a pull date, which is the date that the newsstands or the comic book stores take the comic book off the shelf. They usually receive the comic book 2 months prior to the pull date, and so it's got like a 2 month shelf life before they make way for new comic books. So that's why it has a June cover date. It was actually released and sent out to newsstands, and I don't know what there would have been spinner racks at the time on April 18th.
Yeah, and from I think it was Larry Tye's book that revealed that one of the reasons they put June is that they weren't sure this was going to work, so they wanted to keep it on the shelves as long as humanly possible, and it just was a success right away. And even with that, it still took them like 8 issues to
Superman
put
back
Superman
back
on the cover. There is a cover though of like a Revolutionary War soldier grappling with a First Nations person, a Native American.
Mm-hmm.
That is a complete and utter ripoff of one of the covers to Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, wow.
That was out around the same time. Somebody found it, and I was just like, they just ripped off everything.
Yes, the funny pages, the funny books, they weren't necessarily high kind of market material, so probably they were kind of skipped under the radar a fair bit at that time. So there you go. That's a bit of a background knowledge about why June 1938 is on the cover, but we celebrate it on the release date, which was April 18th. All right, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there is a new Warner Brothers and Discovery. The whole merger thing, the buyout has happened. It's now known as Warner Brothers Discovery, and we do have like a comment from the new CEO of this Warner Brothers Discovery, who is David Zaslav, the CEO of the new entity. According to an interview or a article published in Variety or Variety.com, they're looking at making the most of the DC entertainment side of the business, and the Discovery insiders believe that although DC has achieved pretty good success with recent films such as Aquaman and especially the current film The Batman, there's obviously that lack of a coherent brand strategy, and they believe that several top shelf characters such as Superman have been left to languish and need to be revitalized. So that's good news that they recognize that Superman is languishing from the film side of things, and they haven't got a plan in place. There are current rumors circulating around about the new script by, I'm going to pronounce I forget his name, Ta-Nehisi, I think it is, or something along those lines, who, for this new project that they've got going on, there's a lot of confusion amongst fans who are purporting these rumors about the HBO Max Superman project and the Black Clark Kent Superman project. There's like, which is which? No, people seem to be getting them confused. There are 2 separate Superman projects, one about Val-Zod and one about a black Superman that's not Val-Zod, supposedly Clark Kent. But there are new rumors going on around about that particular project, not the Val-Zod one, but the other one, that they could potentially easily slot in Henry Cavill into that role, because it's not necessarily just about a black Superman. It was just kind of where they were thinking of going with that project, but Henry Cavill could easily slot into that same script.
Yeah, well, as far as the new CEO, I'd like to tip my hat to the new Constitution, and say that we won't be fooled again. This is what they do every time there's a new. They did this when AT&T took over. There's always this lip service paid to having, we have all these other things and all we do is Batman stuff and blah blah blah, and it never materializes. I think there is a certain amount of disappointment that not that I don't want to see Henry Cavill as Superman. I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that any more Henry in the suit and as Clark Kent, that would be fantastic. I don't know what they would do because they've killed off Clark Kent pretty handily as a secret identity in the movies. So I don't know if they would go and would it be too confusing if they started over with Henry still as Superman? That would be an interesting needle of thread. But on the other hand, it's just like you had this opportunity to like do this bold experiment, and now because there's new owners, they're thinking of not doing it. And to be fair, it's not like they're saying, "Oh, we're not going to do the Black Superman in any form," because the Val Zod thing is happening.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just like, "No, Superman's white." I'm not getting that vibe. It's just my favorite thing about this whole thing is how all of these insiders that have suddenly come out onto social media to talk about how the new CEO loves Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder is going to be brought in to basically, I think he's here to revamp the United States of America itself.
Rewrite the Constitution.
Yeah, he's going to rewrite the Constitution, and it's going to be a whole new Bill of Rights. Article 1, of course, will be everything has to be in black and white.
And slow motion.
That's just and slow motion. You have to read it in slow motion, which just extends that whole thing. No, I mean, if they do this, great. But I am a indefinite believe it when I see it mode.
Yes, I'm with you there because there's just too much rumor and speculation surrounding this without any concrete evidence. So let's wait and see what happens. Whether the coach script has been handed in or it need to be handed in, which is you don't know which one to believe. How does that work? Does he just go, "Oh yeah, I'm nearly finished," and then somebody goes, "Oh yeah, put it on social media"? I don't know how these things get out there, but the fact that people are talking about Superman is good. So let's keep that train rolling down the track, and hopefully it gains momentum, and we can get a new Superman movie project on our big screens sooner rather than later. And speaking about getting Superman on our screens, Nicolas Cage, who nearly played Superman once upon a time back in the 90s with that Tim Burton never-made Superman Lives project, has been asked once again by Rolling Stones magazine in regards to furthering his comments that he previously did on a Reddit thing with GQ magazine about, would there be a possibility of him finally playing a live-action Superman in like a multiverse setup in the current upcoming Flash movie. And he goes on to explain here that he says, "I have to be careful what I say about this stuff," because obviously when he said it tongue-in-cheek last time, everyone took it and ran with it. He says, let's see what he says here. Let's think there is is there a chance? Who knows? I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. It certainly would be interesting. He repeats himself there. I just would have loved to have seen those giant spiders that they were talking about. And I did see some of Tim's drawings. He's such a gifted artist in terms of painting. They were remarkably beautiful. So he doesn't really say anything there. In other words, it would be interesting. And people going, no, it's freaking out again. No, keep him away from Superman. Maybe he could have played Jor-El, I don't know, just like, guys, this is like maybe a cameo appearance, if anything, if it happened. But there's no kind of indication whatsoever that this is happening. He's just been doing interviews of late, and these are one of the things I ask him about.
Yeah, and I also was kind of fascinated by him saying that he was the one that brought Tim Burton in.
Yes, that was an interesting little twist.
And because in watching that documentary, it seemed like Tim Burton was chosen as director, and he was the one that wanted Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is just a fascinating human being. I saw a TikTok video today of him where they asked, is there anything of his that he would want back? And he just kept talking about how his comic books were stolen, and he really wants them back because he got them for a good price. And it's just like, well, that's just kind of sad that somebody stole Nicolas Cage's comics. It brought up a weird thing though, because we've got this Doctor Strange movie coming out soon. They're starting to show commercials for it.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of rumors flying about, are we going to see past versions of Marvel characters from before the MCU, come into the MCU for this film? And I'm wondering if we're getting to the point where this is just silly. and by that I mean, is there a saturation point for these alternate versions? And at what point does it become not about the story of the thing, but about the fact that, you're going to see this person as this person? I mean, they did it with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I enjoyed and still love and still hold that I like it better than Endgame. And then we had, the No Way Home, which brought 3 different versions of Spider-Man on screen together, which is just amazing. And now we've got Doctor Strange, and now we've got The Flash, which is going to have Michael Keaton as Batman and Ben Affleck as Batman and potentially Michael Shannon as Zod. And it's just really weird.
This is the norm now.
Yeah, it's just like something that would used to be something that people just talked about in message boards back when there was such a thing. I guess I might be dating myself there. Something that used to be the province of just fans going, wouldn't it be cool if? Now they're doing it, and now I'm wondering if it's just going to get out of control. Like, is Nicolas Cage going to show up as Superman? That would be cool, and it would be nice for him to get to play the character. I will put out there, though, to those that are like, man, he never got the chance. He never got a chance to play Superman. He still got paid. So
he did.
I mean, I rather fancy appearing in Superman Lives, because apparently it's a really lucrative job to not have to do.
So true. And he did get to voice Superman, so in an animated movie. So he is still very much connected with the character, even though he never actually physically got to play or never got to be seen on screen as Superman, but spent a fair bit of time and got paid well for doing those screen tests and costume fittings.
Yeah, Hollywood's weird, man.
So will he be in the Flash movie? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. It will come into our movie theaters June 23rd, 2023. So he's still got a year and a bit to go. So watch this space. And we don't even know if the Flash will be the Flash, because there's rumor and speculation that Ezra Miller might be on the outers because of his recent, what would I say, indiscretions.
That's a good way to put it.
And there's a big movement out there trying to get Grant Gustin to be inserted in his place. I don't know how that would work, considering they've already done quite a bit of filming.
Yeah, I was about to say this thing was filmed 40 years ago. So
who knows what they can do these days with computer graphics. If they can't get Henry's moustache right, they're not going to be able to change someone's face perfectly either.
No, not at all.
All right, as I also mentioned at the top of the show, there's been some casting news in regards to the Wonder Twins film on HBO Max. This HBO Max project has revealed that KJ Apa and Isabel May have been cast as Zan and Jaina for the live-action Wonder Twins project for HBO Max. So KJ is probably best known for playing Archie in the CW's Riverdale, while May is known for playing Elsa Dutton in the Yellowstone prequel 1883. Um, Interesting. I think he has the right look. He's got a kind of that alien look about him. He's put a bit of pointy ears on him, and I think he'll be good.
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated. This is a thing.
Yeah.
In any universe that it truly is a magic time of streaming where you can go, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do the Wonder Twins. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the CGI Gleek.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with the Wonder Twins, they are teenage superheroes that were first introduced in the 1970s, the all-new Super Friends Hour cartoons. Their catch cry was Wonder Twin powers activate when they clash their rings together, and Jaina would turn into any animal or life form that she required, while Zan take the shape of any type of water-based thing.
And she's like, I'm a rampaging mountain gorilla. And he's like, I'm a bucket of water. This is a really lopsided relationship.
So there's no release date as yet for this HBO Max live action version of the Wonder Twins, but they've got casting underway, so good news. Looking forward to seeing where this project goes, because it's just one of those weird things from our childhood era that it's kind of like, wow, they're actually making this live action. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
no one called for it. No one wanted it. It's just happening.
Yeah, it's like no one. Literally no one. HBO Max. We're doing a Wonder Twins movie.
Why not?
Okay, then.
Okay, if you are. Fair enough. And still on the movie side of things, a reminder that the big Motor City Comic Con reunion, the Christopher Reeve Legacy reunion, which is presented by the Cape Wonder Superman podcast, will include special guests Jack O'Halloran, Mark McClure, Sarah Douglas, Mariel Hemingway, Mark Pillow, and Aaron Smolinski, along with Robert Venditti and Wilfred Torres, the artists behind the Superman 78 comic book. It's all happening next month, May 13th to May 15th. Make sure if you are in the area, head to Motor City Comic Con to be part of this almost once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's a good group of people to have together. I'm just more interested, actually, in all honesty, on a panel level, to hear Mariel Hemingway and Mark Pillow talk. Because one, people will be surprised that he doesn't sound like Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and two, it's just like what is this like for her?
Yeah.
I'm not saying this in like a snarky way either. This is a movie she did. It's one of many movies that she did. It wasn't very well received. It is panned universally, and yet there are probably going to be people coming up to her and talking about how much they love the film. And I'm just wondering what that is like for her as a human being.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Hopefully we'll get some video footage of that panel be released online for those who can't attend. Mark Lax in the comments asking, didn't they reference Gleek at the end of one of the crossovers with Supergirl? Yeah,
at
Gleek.
the end of the Crisis.
Crisis, that's right. Gleek was mentioned.
Where they played the Super Friends theme, and I realized that there's a primitive part of my lizard brain that reacts to that, because it was just like, there was so much about that entire event that that I think is the reason why I'm okay with Superman and Lois not being part of it.
Yeah.
The CW verse, because it's just like, no, that's done. You know, they shot their wad with that. We can move on now.
Indeed. Okay, so in some sad news before we do take our halftime break, sadly, comedian and actor Gilbert Gottfried passed away aged 67 after battling a long illness. I don't know if we mentioned this last week. We might have kind of just touched on it. If it kind of happened right about the time that our last episode took place. Did we talk about it?
I don't remember.
No.
I hate to say that.
I know.
It's not like our shows are that forgettable. It's just I can't remember most of last week. Just with everything going on. It is sad because, you know, he was a very gifted comedian, had a very eclectic career. There's people my age that remember him being one of the hosts of USA Up All Night, with him and this woman, where they would just do silly things in between movies. And he was on the Superboy TV series. Everyone mentions Mix's Pitilic, which of course is probably his most iconic of Superman connections. But he was Knick-Knack on
Yes.
On Superboy, and apparently, and I forget who talked about this, apparently he would pretend to get off on the wrong floor at the DC offices just to get free comics.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he, this is the interesting thing. There was an issue of the Superboy comic book that was tied into the show, that was co-written by Scott Lobdell, who would, a couple years after that, go on to become like a big-time X-Men writer, and then he would come and do some really questionable things in the New 52. But Scott Lobdell was a stand-up comedian. That was like his main job before he started writing comics. So it's just kind of weird that two stand-up comedians kind of get thrown together to do this comic book, because they both like comic books. But no, I liked him because I thought he was funny. And that wasn't his natural speaking voice. Which you can see in, like, they've been showing like old commercials from like the early 80s that are just really creepy. But no, it's really sad. I always hate to hear of people passing away, especially after a long illness, apparently.
Yeah, so he was only 67, so he's not that old. And for all of us, obviously, he was the voice of Mix's Pitilic in Superman the Animated Series. He also voiced Mixie in the Justice League Action animated shorts as well. But for most people out in the world, he will always be Iago the parrot from Disney's animated film Aladdin. In my mind, every time I read anything with Mix's Pitilic, it's his voice that I hear in my head.
Yeah, it's very iconic. And nothing against the guy that did the voice on the Super Friends, but Gilbert Gottfried kind of came along and supplanted him.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so our condolences to his family and friends. He is survived by his wife Dara and his children Lily and Max. So our condolences to them and those who loved him. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back on the flip side to talk about Superman and Lois, talk comic books, do our fan favourite and This Week in History segments. So stick with us, we'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen have been kidnapped. Who will save the day? You are Superman. All the powers are yours. flight, heat vision, super speed, super strength, freezing breath, and X-ray vision. Buy early and receive a DC Comics Collector's Edition Superman comic book. Superman, the New Adventures video game.
And there it was, the worst Superman game ever created.
Apparently,
Nintendo 64.
Let's fly through some rings.
Over and over
Again,
and over
and
and over again.
And again.
Very funny. All right. As I mentioned before the break, Superman and Lois, we're still waiting for new episodes. The next new episode will be next week, so still not tomorrow. It'll be the 26th of April will be the next new episode. But we do have the description for the episode after that, which is titled Truth and Consequences. That'll be on Tuesday, May 3rd. And the description for this reads thusly. It says, just don't know why my little graphic there we go. We pick up right where we left off with Jordan Elsas, smoking at Lois, who is still standing on the porch with Jordan. John L. catches sight of his doppelganger, Jonathan, standing not too far away. He lunges at him and Jordan tries to intervene, but John L. appears to be stronger and faster than him. That's the description.
Yeah, this is the most interesting of the synopsises that they've released so far, because it's like they got like halfway through the synopsis and then it was time for lunch. So they just broke, and then when they came back, they forgot to finish it up, and then it was just time to turn it in, and they're like, okay, and then they just do that.
It's almost like they took the first paragraph of the script and just went, okay, we'll throw that out as a synopsis because we can't give away too much else from the episode. Weird.
No, I mean, I'm excited for it regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really looking forward to the episode next week, just because I think it's just going to be insane. So I'm really going to have to stay off Twitter that night before I see it.
Now, there are a couple of Paleyfest red carpet interviews that the CW have released. You can check them out on our website. So far, there is one with Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch, and another one with Wale Parks. So check those out at supermanhomepage.com. All right, still on the TV side of things, before we jump away into our fan favourite segment, another reminder about a convention. This one is for Fan Expo St. Louis, where... there we go. We've got Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, and Kristen Crook all appearing at Fan Expo St. Louis. They'll be there on Saturday, May 14th and Sunday, May 15th. Once again, as always, you can take a photo with the stars or grab an autograph for a fee. The St. Louis Fan Expo will be taking place at America's Center Convention Complex across May 13th to May 15th. You can get your tickets through fanexpohq.com.
Alrighty.
That's good that the three of them are continuing to do these convention appearances. Fans can head there to check it out. All right, let's move into the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, Michael, what was our fan favorite question from last week?
That question was, which is your favorite live-action Superman costume? And Stephen Marshall wrote, there's been a lot of great Superman costumes over the years, but for my taste, the Man of Steel costume is the best. Blends the new and the classic together wonderfully. My only wish is the colors were more prominent, like they were later in BVS and Justice League, and I would have preferred the S-shield and oval buckle elements of the MOS version, which is why I went for that. Kingdom Come Brandon Routh costume would be a close second.
Yeah, well, obviously not in Zack Snyder's Justice League because it was very dark and drab and black and white and grey and silver.
Yep.
But yeah, in the Justice League theatrical release, the costume was a lot brighter and bluer, but didn't have like the oval buckle, if you like. So there were different elements from the Henry Cavill costumes that I quite liked as well. Next up we have Michael Balik, who says, this is a tough question, so I'm going to break it down between the classic Superman suits and the more modern. My two favourite classics would be the George Reeves... sorry, I'm just getting my costumes up here. The George Reeves suit from the 1950s Adventures of Superman when it went colour, and the Christopher Reeve suit from the 1970s Superman the movies. I give the nod to George Reeves because I like his cape better. It wasn't bunched up at the back neckline, but rather had a nice U-shape. My two favourite modern versions of the suit, Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come suit from the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. It was a long time coming to see it worn live, and Routh was the perfect choice to wear it. And Tyler Hoechlin's homage to the Fleischer animation Superman suit, a true wow moment to experience. Yeah, I love the Fleischer suit that Tyler Hoechlin wore. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. I remember when you showed me that picture, and I immediately started calling the people who didn't make that the actual costume cowards, which isn't fair, but you know what? I stand by it. Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite live-action Superman suit would be that of Christopher Reeve. The S is about the right size, not too large, nor too small. I guess that would be the baby bear of Superman S's. And the suit preserves the trunks and yellow S on the cape, sadly missing from Henry Cavill and Tyler Hoechlin's suits. Additionally, the trunks are thankfully not oversized like on George Reeves' suit, nor resemble a Speedo as with Brandon Routh's suit in Superman Returns, which admittedly I find Dean Cain's suit to be quite good, not the one with the problematic cape attachment. I must say that Christopher Reeve's suit simply possesses a timeless quality. It is a classic. It is classic Superman.
Yeah, there's not too much wrong with the Christopher Reeve suit from a fan point of view, other than maybe the turquoise blue, which was a technical issue with blue screen.
Yes.
They didn't have green screen, so that's why it was that color. Next up, we have Adam Basciano, who wrote, while there is no doubt to me that the Christopher Reeve Superman costume from the 1978 film is the blueprint for live-action Superman costumes, I have a tie for my favourite. One of those is the Kingdom Come costume worn by Brandon Routh as Superman on the Crisis crossover. The other is the Fleischer Superman costume design worn by Tyler Hoechlin during the Season 1 flashback episode and pilot of Superman and Lois. Great show, guys. Thank you, Adam, and great to hear from you. So, yes, a lot of votes for both the Christopher Reeve and the Tyler Hoechlin Superman Fleischer suit.
Patrick O'Neill wrote, my favorite live-action Superman costume is the John Haymes Newton Superboy costume from the first season. I love the classic colors, and I think it's the best S ever put on a live-action costume.
Cannot disagree.
I almost picked that one, too, because I really liked both of the Superboy costumes. But the first one, for whatever reason, just worked a little bit better for me. Shockingly, my favorite, the black and white George Reeves costume.
Okay.
I really like. I've really just grown to love the shape of the S. I like how the cape fits. I like that even though I'm a yellow cape on the yellow S on the cape guy, I like in black and white the way the S was red as well. So it kind of blended into the costume, and it just there's just kind of a timeless look about it. I thought I was going to go for either Superboy or the Kingdom Come suit, but you know, it just kind of took me by surprise. That was my choice.
There you go.
What about you?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to see and be able to feel and touch, which sounds creepy, but there is a real element to seeing these things up close. The Brandon Routh Superman Returns costume, which isn't my favorite and nowhere near the top 5 probably, but being there physically seeing, you know, a movie costume in person and being able to, you know, run your fingers across the 3D emblem and how that was put together was really cool. And Henry Cavill's Superman costume, seeing that up close in person was really cool. There's something kind of regal about that, and also alien, obviously. But for just the classic look, and being that the Fleischer cartoons are such a favorite of mine, seeing Tyler Hoechlin in that suit probably just tops my list because it's just seeing that in live action form was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that they did it
Yeah,
at all.
exactly.
I mean, that was just the surprise. Like you kind of got to, they've given a look at what the costume was going to look like his new costume, because they said they're changing the costume. And there was this collective, thank God they're getting rid of the clasps from fandom, because apparently that was an issue. But when I saw that picture, I was just like, wow, that's a bold choice, you cowards, for, again, not making it the costume.
Indeed. All right, so that was our fan favorite question. Thank you for everyone for submitting your entries for last week. What is our new question for this week, Michael?
What is your favorite Superman clock?
Yeah, I don't know if we've done this one before, but it just kind of struck me as something that is really cool. There have been some really cool Superman clocks over the years. Whether they're analog clocks or digital clocks, it's up to you. But what is your favorite Superman clock? Send in your entries by emailing me at info@supermanhomepage.com. If you want to send a photo, that's even better. And we will show these next week when we return to the fan favorite segment. Do you have any clocks,
Yay.
Michael?
Not really.
Okay. You don't need to know the time.
I've got my phone.
Yeah.
No, I got my phone if I want to check the time. Somewhere in this house, there was a Superman clock that I have that had a matching Batman clock, and the Batman clock shone the bat signal onto the ceiling. And another was, I forget where I got it. It may have been the Warner Brothers store, but it was just like this just kind of 50s looking clock, but with Superman on it. That was like an old school alarm clock. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to have a look at those next week. All right, let's move on to This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Alrighty, going back, we've got one from pretty much every decade this week. We have from 1942 Action Comics, number 49, where Superman fights the Puzzler. You know the Puzzler, right? He's a
memorable villain.
Epic Superman villain, so much so that they put him on the Batman television series in the 60s. That story title was The Wizard of Chance, by the way. Jumping ahead to 1952, we have Adventure Comics number 177, which is the Hot Rod Chariot Race. That's the name of the story.
1970.
That's really weird looking.
What year was this?
1952.
I was going to say, it didn't come out at the same time as the movie Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
No.
Which is shocking because they were not opposed to doing stuff like that. I'm going to make some jokes here. World's Finest Comics number 126 has, depending on your viewpoint, either the Zack Snyder Superman or the Tyler Hoechlin Superman, because it is the negative Superman, which is actually kind of a stunning cover, really. That does kind of look like the Zack Snyder costume from Justice League, the Snyder cut. Really cool cover by Jim Mooney, with Superman and Batman actually teaming up finally, and not like putting people in danger for their own petty amusement. Jumping ahead to 1972, we have Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 150, which had a Bad Act to Follow, in addition to a Plastic Man story and a reprint of a Newsboy Legion story. Also from that same week, Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane, number 123, The 10 Deadly Divisions of the 100, which would later become the 1000, tie into Rose and Thorn. And finally, we have Martian Manhunter just punching Superman dead in the face on the cover of World's Finest number 212. This is when World's Finest was a Superman team-up book, and apparently he's somewhat teaming up with the Martian Manhunter. Going ahead to 1982, we have Superman Family, number 220, which had a Supergirl story called Battle Beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, with Master Jailer. There was also a Jimmy Olsen, a Lois Lane, and a Mr. and Mrs. Superman story. 1992, Superman number 68 with Superman fighting Deathstroke. Ironically, this was never reprinted in a Superman trade. However, it is in a Deathstroke the Terminator trade.
Okay.
Because this is around the time he got his own series. And it was actually a really good story. I liked this one back when I was a kid. Jumping ahead to 2002, we have Supergirl number 69, where Supergirl is, well, she apparently fought Mary Marvel, and now she's going to fight CM3. Do we all remember when Captain Marvel Jr. went by CM3 because he couldn't say his own name? Do you remember that? No,
wow.
That's okay. It's a pretty terrible idea. Also, we have Superman, the Man of Steel number 125, The Big Compromise. And then jumping ahead to 2012, we have Batman Beyond Unlimited. Oh, yeah, that's the Superman Unlimited story. That eventually got released in its own special with a similar cover, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
I like that costume design.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, kind of an interesting idea. Also from that same week, we have Justice League number 8, which talks about why Green Arrow is not a member of the Justice League, and Supergirl number 8, where she is fighting Rain, I believe.
It's Silver Banshee.
Yeah. Oh, Silver Banshee. That is Silver Banshee, isn't it? Not the epic villain Rain. Yeah, I'm going to keep beating that joke right into the ground because I feel like it. In the real world...
Oh, hang on, we've got more. Young Justice.
Oh, yeah, Young Justice. I completely forgot to write that down. Yes, Young Justice, which was a tie-in to the comic book series, the animated series at the time, and we're mentioning it because it had Superboy in it.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Going on to the real world, finally, unless I missed something else.
Nope.
Today, April 18th, Action Comics number 1 was released. On April 22nd, Cassidy Freeman, who played Tess Mercer on Smallville, and recently was on the show The Fabulous Gemstones, and she was hilarious.
Okay.
I really liked her on that show. She was born in 1982, and on April 23rd, Cal Penn, who was Stanford, not that you would ever know that from watching the film, because God knows they never actually said his name, but he played Stanford in Superman Returns, and that is This Week in History.
Fantastic. Awesome. Yes, I think he probably... a lot of his speaking roles were cut out of Superman Returns, from what I understand, which much to his chagrin. So,
yeah.
Yes, Cal Penn. All right. Thank you, Michael. That was This Week in History. And speaking about history, behind me is Superman number 1, and the reason it's behind me was because this week it set a new record for the sale of a comic book. I'm just bringing up the cover now for you and getting my mug out of the way. There it is. It is... Turn off the history one behind it. It sold for $5.3 million. This was the 1939 comic book, which was the first time a comic book had been titled for a character. There's usually action comics or detective comics or whatever that collected, comic book characters within those issues. But this was the first time a comic book was titled for a singular character, and it set a record price for this 8.0 CGC graded comic book, $5.3 million. That is amazing.
And it looks like it's in really good condition, too.
Yeah, exactly. So there you have it. That's awesome.
How long have you been hanging on to that one?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think privately traded hands in January this year for 5.3, so it wasn't even an auction. It just CGC announced that it had been a private sale for $5.3 million. There is an article there that you can read on our website about Superman number 1. Unlike most other key issues from this period, is very difficult to find in an average, even in average condition. mere 4 copies are graded higher than 6.0. So this is one of the highest graded copies of Superman #1 in existence. Awesome. Amazing. New record, folks.
If I had enough money to buy something for 5.3 million, one, that would mean I would have way too much money.
Yeah.
But I would live stream popping it out of the CGC thing and just bagging and boarding it and putting it in a box, and just to watch everybody lose their minds.
Oh my goodness, that would be crazy. All right, this week DC also released their July 2022 solicitations, and there's a couple of interesting things to look at here in regards to what's coming out in July. Turn off Superman #1 right there. There we go. So what we have is Superman. Which one is this one? Action Comics 1045. The War World Revolution escalates as Superman gains the upper hand, forcing Mongol to take desperate measures. Meanwhile, a fallen ally of Superman is resurrected at a terrible cost. A new connection to Jack Kirby's Fourth World is revealed as the War World saga's mind-blowing conclusion nears. Nice cover there.
That is a nice cover. That looks like one of those 90s painted covers. Or something you would find on like a trading card.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've also, this in July, we'll see the release of the previously announced Superman Space Age #1, which we spoke about being written by Mark Russell with art and cover by Mike Allred. And there's a variant cover by Steve Rude, as well as Nick Derrington and Mike Allred doing other variant covers as well. This is the first of a 3-issue Prestige format miniseries, so that's coming out in July as well. Now,
not a whole lot really stood out in those solicitations.
No, very true. There's a few new things happening. There's a DC Mech #1 coming out. There's the Dark Crisis thing happening with World Without a Justice League Superman #1, which we previously announced as well. The Dark Crisis second issue it will be coming out. And then there's some of the issues of like DC versus Vampires, Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes that are ongoing, and the Jurassic League, God help us, that's also on its 3rd issue that month. But in Superman Son of Kal-El #13, Dreamer makes her DC Universe debut, coming across from the CW's Supergirl TV series, and this is actually co-written by Tom Taylor and Nicole Maines, who starred as Dreamer in the CW shows. When every hero on Earth is threatened by Henry Bendix's machinations, it's a race against time for Dreamer to warn Superman before it happens. But will this mysterious new ally's premonitions become a nightmare for Jonathan Kent? So that's pretty cool to see that taking place as well.
That is very cool. I'm very happy to see that.
So very cool. That's the Dreamer debut in the DC Universe. And as I mentioned, co-written by Nicole Maines herself with artwork by Clayton Henry. All right, this week's comic books coming out this week as of Tuesday, April 19th. And it's a good week for a couple of reasons. But this is what we have to look forward to. We have World's Finest #2. That's the Batman Superman World's Finest #2. And that is available in not just one variant cover, but which is a cool one by Tim Sale, but also
that is nice.
A couple of other variant covers. Don't know why we need 3 different variant covers, but that's for Batman Superman World's Finest #2. And then we also have the Earth Prime #2 Superman and Lois comic book, which is available in the poster image variant cover. And that is reviewed by none other than our very own Michael Bailey, folks.
Yes, and I decided to completely throw Steve off this weekend by turning it in really early.
Very early.
Just so that he could get it all set up. No, I was happy to review this, and it's such a good book. It really is. I cannot say enough good things about it. If you like the series at all, you're gonna love the comic.
Very cool. So that's and Michael's review will be up on the website tomorrow, Tuesday in the morning. And also available this week is the Deceased Dead Planet trade paperback, and also the Infinite Frontier hardcover. So that is what is out this week for comic book fans. So looking forward to those two. They were both really good books. World's Finest has been just killing it with the first issue, and obviously looking forward to the Superman and Lois Earth Prime #2 release. Magog, Mind the Gap asks, yes, Magog will be the revealed villain in issue #6, which we spoke about last week.
I was, because they had the shadow. There's a shadowy villain at the end of the second issue. They've already revealed that it's Magog, so I don't feel bad saying that a day early. I was pulling for Scorn.
Yes, with the horns.
But yeah, I don't get what I wanted. So there's that.
All right, just quickly, a couple of other things. There is a animated fan project called Superman vs. Hulk Part 1 Taming the Beast 2, which is a follow-on from a previous animated thing they did with Hulk versus One Punch Man. And here's just a quick look at some of the animation for this. So you get a bit of a taste of the animated style. It's a couple of, let's see, how long is it? It's about 5.5 minutes long. So Superman appears and takes on the Hulk, and it will be concluded in a follow-up release. Also, there's the, quickly just going through them, turn off that one. There's the Blackest Night action figure coming from McFarlane Toys. Yes, Blackest Night. So if that's something you want to, that's just a reveal of what that's going to look like. We'll let you know when it's available. Also, there are Superman wedding rings available with DC wedding rings. A whole collection of them. There's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, and the Joker. Believe it or not, no Green Lantern.
Shocking.
You'd think the green one would have been a Green Lantern one, but no, it's a Joker. The only character who actually wears a ring. Yeah. So that's interesting. There's also some gold coins from the New Zealand Mint. Gold and silver coins, I should say, because there's also a silver 3-ounce version available from New Zealand Mint. All these are up on our website if you're interested in checking out the news stories. And there's also a, not yet released in the US, but it's coming soon. It is available, I think, in Malaysia at the moment for the, not iPhone, for the Google Play store. DC Worlds Collide, a mobile phone game that you can download and play. Looks like the DC League of Justice League up against the Crime Syndicate. So all these news stories are available on our website if you'd like links and to check out other things available that we've mentioned tonight. But that is it for tonight's show. Before we do sign off, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. I want to thank our sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And thank you to everyone who tuned in live, watching it. Rom, we've got Mind the Gap, Mark Lax, who else we had? Geiger, we've had a couple of others, Michael, Mark, I think I already mentioned. So thank you for your involvement in the show. I love you guys watching the show live with us, taking the time out. And thank you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, thank you, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And remember, if you tuned in late, missed part of the show, the full episode of tonight's show will be available on our website and our YouTube channel. You can check it out in full. Michael and I will be back next week for our show, Monday, April 25th. Hope you'll join us then at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice, on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.